Hey everyone, today I'll be demonstrating how to submit files to Autolab, including how to preview Autolab submissions and how to interpret AutoGrader feedback. First, make sure your URL begins with autolab.csc.buffalo.edu. This is a different website than UBCSC used prior to summer 2023, so you may need to update your bookmark. If this is your first time logging into AutoGrader, you may have to do some account setup, but once you're on the screen, select your course CSE 331. The assignments you see here will change depending on how far along the semester you are. The assignments you see will probably be different from what I have. At any point, you should be able to at least see the syllabus quiz. On this page, you can select which homework and which question to submit a response for. I'll select Homework 0, Question 1A. You are required to familiarize yourself with the CSE 331 homework policies before submitting. You get to the homework policies page by going to Homeworks and then Homework Policies with the nav bar at the top. The Autolab submission page includes some of the major homework policies, like you're only allowed to collaborate with up to 2 other CSE 331 students on an assignment, except for Question 3's, the programming assignment, which must always be done individually. And you must always provide a separate submission for Part A and for Part B of a homework assignment. Right now I'm only submitting Part A. Also, you must provide a list of sources you used in your PDF submission. The sources do not have to be cited in MLA format or anything like that. If you use the course textbook, simply stating course textbook is fine. It's just a check against using prohibited sources, so we're not super concerned with the formatting here. And I have no collaborators, so I just have none written under collaborators. I'm all set to hit the check marks on Autolab to confirm that I included my sources in the PDF and to confirm that I included my collaborators in my PDF. Just hit the File Upload button under Submitting your PDF, and I'm already in my Homework 0 directory, so I just need to make sure I choose the correct PDF. I will confirm that I've read and understood the Homework 0 instructions and the CSE 331 homework policies. Please keep in mind that once you click this checkbox, you bear full responsibility for adhering to the homework instructions and the CSE 331 homework policy. So, for example, if you did not include your sources in your PDF, you could end up with a 0 for the assignment, irrespective of whether your solution was correct or not. I'll also affirm that I've complied with the course's academic integrity policy as it is defined in the syllabus. If you have not, then I would recommend you don't submit your solution at all. Hit Submit, and you're taken to the Handed History page. Your score won't show up here until it's graded, but it's really important that you preview your submission here. If we can't display the submission on our end, you'll get a 0, so here's where you can check to make sure everything is working correctly with your file and with Autolab. Just click View Source, and you should see your PDF display on the screen. If you notice any issues with your submission, you can resubmit as many times as you'd like up to the deadline. We will only grade the most recent submission. Submitting the programming question to Autolab works a little differently than submitting the other questions to Autolab, so I will briefly go over that. From the course page, select Question 3. First, you need to select which programming language you use to solve this question. In my case, it's Python, but you also have Java and C++ available to you. Then, you need to select the number of test cases you want AutoGrader to run on your code. You need this number to be 10 for full credit. The only reason to reduce this number to something lower than 10 is if your code is timing out the AutoGrader completely, giving you a 0 on the entire assignment. If the code is timing out AutoGrader, resulting in a 0 for the entire question 3, you might be able to reduce this number to something lower, like 5, and still get credit for passing some of the first 5 tests. I'll leave it at 10 for now. I'm putting my sources as none, but the same source policy from the written questions apply here. They just need to be listed in Autolab instead of in text. Click the File Upload button, open my Homework 0 Python folder, and select solution.py. Every course website homework page has instructions specific to each language for how to test your code on your machine and how to select the correct file to submit on Autolab. So I would recommend you use that as a resource if you're having trouble submitting your code on Autolab. Okay, so now I will affirm that I've complied with the course's academic integrity policy as it is defined on the syllabus. Again, if you have not, I would strongly recommend not submitting the assignment at all. Hit Submit. This will take you to the Handed History. Your score will not display immediately, but you can wait a few seconds to a few minutes and reload the page. Usually this gives the AutoGrader enough time to finish grading your submission. As you can see, I have 0.0 for all 10 test cases. All 10 0.0s are hyperlinks to the same feedback page. It doesn't matter which one I click, they'll all bring me to the same feedback page. Here I can see the AutoGrader's results for each individual test case. Nothing too interesting here. They all just say that my solution is incorrect and my runtime is within the threshold. The threshold is the runtime of our solution multiplied by some threshold factor, so your runtime must be within that threshold to pass the test cases. Now I'll try an actual submission instead of just submitting template code, so I'll keep the language, the number of test cases, and the sources the same, affirm that I've complied with the course's academic integrity policy, and hit submit. Okay, it still gives me a 0.0 for all 10 test cases. Rather than going directly back to my code, I might be able to gain some insight from the AutoGrader feedback, so I'll try that first. Here we see, unlike last time, we have an error message at the top that says, error message 859, unexpected token at reading file for input 6. This is one of the most common error messages that students encounter, and it just means that Autolab timed out because the code ran way too slowly. The feedback explicitly states that Autolab timed out just a little further down the page, and this error is also listed as a common error on the course website, on the Autolab page. The AutoGrader does say that my solution is correct for inputs 1 through 5, and the grading stops at info reading file for input 6. This indicates that AutoGrader spent too much time trying to grade test case 6 and then threw an error, resulting in a 0 on the entire question instead of giving me credit for the first 5 test cases. Before I try to fix my code, I can actually get credit for the first 5 test cases without changing my code at all. If I go back to the submission page, I can reduce the number of test cases from 10 to 5, keep all the other parameters the same, and hit submit. Once I get the results back, I can see that I have full credit for the first 5 test cases. This is a huge improvement from before. Since this is a runtime issue preventing me from passing test cases 6 through 10, I will work on reducing the runtime of my code. Since my code timed out the AutoGrader altogether earlier, it probably wasn't even close to being within the threshold for the later test cases, which indicates that I will most likely need to improve the runtime asymptotically and not just make minor adjustments. Okay, now I've updated my code. I can change the number of test cases back to 10, upload my new code, and hit submit. Now we have a 25 out of 25. Okay, the last thing is the syllabus quiz. You only have to do this one time throughout the entire semester, but it's important that you do this quiz sooner rather than later, because you need to score an 18 out of 20 on the quiz in order to view feedback for Autolab assignments. So on the course page under quiz, hit syllabus quiz. The questions are directly embedded in the AutoGrader, so once you've read the syllabus on the course website and feel ready, you can fill this out and hit submit. Remember, you need an 18 out of 20 in order to view feedback on future Autolab assignments, but you have infinite attempts to take the quiz, so you don't need to feel any pressure. Familiarizing yourself with the course syllabus is for your own benefit. I'm just going to submit a blank quiz because I don't want to leak any answers. As you can see, I got a 0 out of 20. All my feedback just says, please answer this question. But normally AutoGrader will give feedback explaining why your specific wrong answers are wrong, which you can use to retake the quiz if you got less than an 18 out of 20. If you have any remaining questions, I'd strongly recommend you check out the Autolab page on the course website. You get there by just clicking Autolab on the nav bar at the top. This page covers most of the stuff that was talked about in this video. This page will be updated with this video shortly, and if you scroll down, there's a lot of stuff for people who are just using C++ instead of Python or Java. I would strongly recommend using Python or Java over C++ if you have some familiarity with them, but if you do decide to use C++, the only option that we'll provide support for is running your C++ code on a department Linux server that you can SSH into. You can see the specific directions for how to run your C++ code on department Linux servers here, but if you're using Python or Java, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. If you have any additional questions, feel free to post them on Piazza or to come to office hours.